This week on Film Critics Weekly, we are going to do a fall festival preview, plus talk about Oscar hopefuls. Stay tuned.
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk. We talk movies.
Hello, everyone. I am Scott Menzel, founder of the Los Angeles Online Film Critics Society, and welcome to Film Critics Weekly. We have a jam-packed episode for you today. We're going to be talking about the fall festival season, kicking off with Venice, Telluride, and Toronto. Oh my gosh, I'm already goofing up. So I'm very excited. This is my favorite time of year, and we need to jump right into it. And we want to go to the two people on the panel today, which is Rama and Ashley. Can you please introduce yourselves?
Sure. I'm Ashley Menzel. I can be found on We Live Entertainment and on Twitter at Ashley G. Menzel.
Hi, I'm Rama, or you can call me Bruce Willis. I'm just kidding. You can find me on YouTube, youtube.com/RamaScreen1.
All right, so we're going to jump right into the Fall Festival preview, and we have a ton of movies to talk about here. And how we decided to mix this up is, instead of just talking about big studio releases, we want to talk about some of the independent films that are also premiering at the festivals. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back and forth, have a little bit of discussion about each film that we're talking about, and then we'll move on to the next one. So Ashley, let's start with you.
All right, so we're going to start with the non-studio films first. So my pick, what I love most about festivals is that you can go to a festival and find all these movies that have never been picked up by any studio and may never see the light of day again, but they're very special and unique in a lot of ways. So finding independent films is really a joy if you've never been to a film festival. So I'm going to start out with Bad Education, which is likely to get a studio pickup really quickly. And the plot of it is the unfolding of the single largest public school embezzlement scandal in history, which took place in Roslyn, New York. Now, this film stars one of my favorite actors, Hugh Jackman, Allison Janney, Alex Wolff, Geraldine Viswanathan, I think is how you say it. I apologize. And Ray Romano. It's directed by Corey Finley, who did Thoroughbreds, and the writer is Mike Makowski. I think We're Alone Now is what he's known for.
Yes.
I just have, you get feelings after reading about a film or like learning a little bit about it. You just have a feeling that it's going to be a good film. My concern with Hugh Jackman is the last experience that we had with him was The Front Runner, the film, which kind of went nowhere. But I'm hesitantly excited for this. I think it'll be really interesting. It besides having really great leads, there's also really great supporting cast around him. When you have like Allison Janney and Alex Wolff, I think you're gonna really get a really great film out of those actors, and if the writing is as good as we hope it's going to be, I think it's a big contender for a pickup in from the festival, as well as potentially Oscars if it's as good as we hope it is.
Yeah, I mean, going off that film, that was also one that would have been on my list. And the reason why I'm excited to see this, there's two. Of course, the first is Hugh Jackman. The second,
the first is Hugh, and the second is Jackman.
And then this just seems so incredibly timely to what happened earlier this year with the college scandal, and I feel like having this premiere there right at the start of award season, this has potential of being picked up, especially since Corey's last film, Thoroughbreds, got very little love, and it was released by Focus Features, but a lot of people really like that one, and I think this one has a little bit more of a mainstream appeal without seeing it, but we'll have full reviews later.
Well, it also is an interesting time for it to come out because it is based on a public school embezzlement. There's a lot of, more than any other time in history, there's been a lot of back and forth of American history and education. There hasn't been as much of a push for charter schools, which are kind of destroying the public school system in a lot of ways because, if you don't know anything about education, charter schools, a lot of them still get the public funding that public schools get, but they're taking away from that amount that like a regular public school would get. So it's interesting that it would come out. I just think it's a good time for it to come out to kind of see what public education was like when this happened and where it is now.
And because Hugh Jackman's in it, then it's a
And Hugh
musical,
Jack-
right?
And
You'll be singing.
musical school embezzlement. I'm all for it.
What do you got, Rama? What's a
What
pick
you
you
got?
got?
Oh, for indie, gotta put Seberg. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yep.
Okay, Seberg, my top choice, because I'm a big fan of Kristen Stewart, just as you are as
So is
well.
Scott.
Love Kristen Stewart. And so the plot is, I'm reading half of this, inspired by real events about the French New Wave darling and breathless star, I think that's how, breathless
Yep.
star, Jen Seberg, who in the late 1960s was targeted by Hoover's FBI because of her political and romantic involvement with civil rights activist Hakeem Jamal. Now, there's a lot about that that's appealing to me. There's forbidden Romeo and Juliet-esque romance thing, it seems to me like it. And then also, of course, back then, FBI, as you know, was more of a jerk than they are today. Just kidding. So there's a bit of conspiracy going on. And then, of course, Kristen Stewart on top of all that. And I've always wanted to see a movie that would, like, come on, this has got to be the movie that makes Kristen Stewart get Oscar nominated. Now, hopefully this is it. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, that's the reason why I want to see it. And this performance, from what I heard, the rumors that have been online, again, if you live on film Twitter, I try not to live on film Twitter because it's a very angry place. But I do like to read about the Oscar hopefuls and things like that. There should just be a separate awards section of film Twitter. I would definitely vote for that. But Kristen Stewart, she's supposed to be really great in this film, and I'm really excited because I'm thinking and I'm hoping that this might be the first year, and this will be very funny for the Twilight fans, is Robert Pattinson has multiple movies coming out this year,
Yes.
which I think he's also going to be nominated finally.
That'd be great.
And then to see her also be nominated for this film would be great. So I'm looking forward to
Yeah,
for that.
she's been consistent, after leaving Twilight franchise. J.T. Elroy, Lizzie last year, they're all great films.
Yeah, Personal Shopper, Klaus
Personal Shopper,
Maria, yeah, she's great.
It's about time.
Yeah, I think so. One that I'm looking forward to is actually only playing at Venice, and it is a film that has Robert Pattinson.
Speaking of.
Yep, speaking of him, Mark Rylance and Johnny Depp, and
I'm in.
Yep, and it's based on a book that is written by J.M. Cortez, and the director of this is also the director of Embrace the Serpent, which was a really good movie from a couple years ago. And I don't know. I'm going to give this to Ashley to pronounce this person's name because I'm horrible with that.
Ciro Guerra.
Okay. And this is very interesting to me because this film, there's a lot of talk about it. Obviously, with that cast, you would think that it would be playing at more festivals, but it's only playing at Venice at the time right now.
But we have to put a disclaimer on this.
Yes.
Technically, Telluride Film Festival does not announce their official schedule or slate of films until the 29th of August. There's a bunch of rumors going around about these are probably the films that we're going to see, but we don't know for certain. So,
But you will know by the time you watch this
by the
video.
time you watch this, we are pre-recording this, so I forgot that.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, we're doing the predictions prior to knowing what is actually playing at Telluride. So if you're like, hey, why did they say it's not playing at Telluride? It is. Just know that we did pre-record.
Awesome. But that's the one I'm looking forward to
Cool.
from there. Ashley, going back to you.
Going back to me. Color Out of Space. I have this weird relationship with Midnight Madness at TIFF. If you've never been to Midnight Madness, you have to do it because it's just bananas. And it's where all the horror films will premiere and kind of those little like offbeat films that don't necessarily fit in a genre. Like what was that one that we saw? With,
Mom and Dad?
No, the one with Brie. The one that we did.
Oh God.
My
It's the
thing
one with
was
the
like-
guns. You remember it was all the gun movie.
Everybody was shooting
It was like
everybody.
it was like a Tarantino movie in the
Oh,
warehouse.
Free Fire.
Free Fire.
Free Fire,
Yeah.
Which my tagline for that was like all them bitches crawl.
Yeah.
Because by the end of the movie, everybody's crawling. So anyway, but yeah, they play like those weird little offbeat movies. But last year we saw a movie called Mom and Dad. Last year or the year before?
2 years ago.
2 years ago, we saw a film with Nicolas Cage called Mom and Dad that is absolutely bananas that played at TIFF. So when I saw there was another one coming out with Nicolas Cage and it's a Midnight Madness, I was all for it. The plot is it's based on a short story by H.P. Lovecrafter where a town is struck by a meteorite and the fallout is catastrophic. Anybody who knows me knows I love weird sci-fi, like I love Doctor Who. I love anything to do with sci-fi, minus, Star Wars, which people argue is a fantasy. So anyway, I'm not going to digress, but I am really excited to see that. I don't really know many of the other actors in the film besides Nicolas Cage, but it's written and directed by Richard Stanley, and it has Jolie Richardson. I am not going to be able to pronounce this person's first name, but their last name is Kilcher, and Tommy Chong, so I know who Tommy Chong is. Yes. But I think Nick Cage and Tommy Chong in any film is kind of like, this could be really weird and really good at the same time. So I'm kind of hopeful for that one. Maybe I'll be really disappointed, but it might just be one of those ones where, everybody's screaming and laughing and throwing stuff during the movie, which could possibly happen at Midnight Madness. So that is my Midnight Madness hopeful for the year.
I just hope that Nicolas Cage loses his shit, as always.
He always loses his shit.
In his movies. So.
Always. I will be seriously disappointed if he doesn't.
By the way, this is my first TIFF, so I would love some pointers too on Midnight Madness, because I want to attend Midnight Madness soon.
You have to do it.
I know the Raid opened up Midnight Madness a few years back.
It's hit or miss, in all fairness, though, because Predator was last year.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like
Predator.
You can get a really good one. Like Predator was last year, but also Halloween was last year. So it's.
What about the Necrotronic? That was TIFF too, right? TIFF?
Necromaniac?
Necrotronic. That's a Monica Bellucci.
Oh, yes.
You didn't see that at TIFF?
Yeah, I saw Hardcore Henry at TIFF, which is a movie that went nowhere.
So it's a mixed bag sometimes, but at least the audience is extremely drunk and entertaining.
Yes.
Oh, that's where my Red Bull's cooking.
Yeah, it's just bananas.
Are we still independent? Films?
Okay, indie films.
You're next, Rob.
Well, the other two were How to Build a Girl and The Lighthouse. I don't know how indie is The Lighthouse. Is that an indie film?
It's A24
technically picked up
now.
by A24.
But before Cannes, because that's where it originally played.
Okay.
It would have been an
Well, the Lighthouse, that's what I have on my list. The trailer looks amazing. I am so curious.
Another Robert Pattinson movie.
Yes. Man.
Oh, that's the black and white one, right?
Yeah.
And I'm done. Robert Pattinson is like. I know people are like, oh, Twilight, but he's done decent stuff since he's left Twilight.
Damsel.
I still want the hair, though. I still want the hair to come back in, like, one of the movies where it's just, like, this... And, like, if you watch the Twilight movies, his hair just kind of, like, continues to grow and, like, get unruly, and it's like, what is happening to him? I also have a question is, do vampires' hair grow? Because you're technically dead, so should your hair keep growing? Do your nails keep growing? There's a lot of holes in Twilight.
And they shouldn't sparkle either.
Like 10 years later, I'm like, why's your hair growing? Why are you sparkly?
I know, right?
What about your nails?
I just don't know much about the film other than the trailer looks amazing. I think the frame was square aspect ratio too, right?
Yeah.
I was like, whoa,
4:3.
What's going on here? The story of two lighthouse keepers on a remote and mysterious New England island in the 1890s. And I'm sure there's going to be some paranoia stuff, personal demon stuff. And I just can't wait.
Like Shutter Island.
Yes.
I am all for anything that has the potential to be creepy, which is really weird to come from me because I don't like being scared. But I'm like, that sounds creepy. Let's watch it. And then I'll be petrified for a week. But you know how I am. I'm like, this is scaring me. You're like, turn it off. I'm like, I can't. I have to watch it. It's so weird.
Oh, I can't wait for it.
That's my life.
And what was the other one you had, Rama?
I'm sorry.
The one at the top.
How to Build a Girl.
No,
How to Build a Girl. No, we talked about that one.
Oh,
Yeah,
How to Build a Girl, Seaberg, and Marriage Story.
Yeah, I thought that How to
Since
Build a Girl was
nobody knows what
sci-fi.
that is, can you read the description? Because it's probably
Marriage
one
Story?
of... No, How to Build a Girl.
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
yeah.
sorry.
I thought it was a science fiction, but then it's actually a drama. It's like it's not really literally building a girl. It's based on the novel that charts the journey of a teenager, Johanna Morgan, who reinvents herself as Dolly Wilde, fast-talking lady sex adventurer, moves to London, and gets a job as a music critic in the hope of saving her poverty-stricken family in Wolverhampton. So it's not movie critic, it's music critic.
There you go.
Rolling Stones, I think.
And
I am so excited for that movie.
Me too, and Beanie Feldstein's in it, and
Beanie
Emma Thompson.
Feldstein.
Woo, Emma Thompson.
Yeah, I'm really excited
I'm
for that
telling
one
you,
too.
I think this year is like in general has been really strong for female-led comedies. You know, with the Late Night and Booksmart and Brittany Runs a Marathon, and now How to Build a Girl. I'm hoping we're seeing kind of a renaissance.
I also think, I mean, it's like there's so many Emma Thompson movies this year because
Emma freaking Thompson.
Yeah, I mean, I can't believe it because she's in that Christmas movie, Last Christmas.
I love Christmas movies.
Yeah, but it's
Any
just like
Christmas
she's
movies.
all over the place this year.
Any Christmas movies.
So one to kind of, you have one last of the indie, right? What's the last indie you have?
Oh,
Ash?
the last one I have is called Clifton Hill, and I originally saw it because I was like, I know where that is. And then I read what it was. So it's following the death of her mother, a young woman returns to Niagara Falls and becomes entangled in the memory of a kidnapping she claims to have witnessed as a child. Again, it's gonna be creepy, and I want to see it, but I'm also going to be scared. So I like this murder mystery. I've been really into like the murder podcasts lately, and I just really think they're fascinating to hear those crazy stories. It stars Tuppence Middleton, Hannah Gross, Marie-José Croze, and David Cronenberg. It's directed by Albert Shin, who did In Her Place, and written by James Schultz and Albert Shin.
Yep. I don't know anything about that movie.
You saw me put that on your list and you were like, huh?
But we'll go see it and we'll let you know how it is.
And then I gave you another one that you mysteriously left from the list because I think you don't want to see it.
Which one was it?
The Les Miserables one.
Oh, no, I did not.
Want to see that?
No, I did not leave that off the list on purpose. It was just literally like...
Scott saw Les Mis and he was like, why is this so long?
No.
But this one I think is really pertinent because I think it's really interesting and timely right now because it takes the original story of Les Mis by Victor Hugo and applies it to modern times in Paris, which is really interesting to see how the dynamics are like class wars and stuff.
So that's the twist.
Yeah, so it's modern day in Paris. So...
Not musical.
No.
Okay.
No Eddie Redmayne with a little... No. Which, like, if you ever see them in the musical, like, do the flag, it's like this whole body thing. It's like, I'm just like, it's this big. No, it's usually like this guy that's like, whoa, like all over the place. So... We're going to see that. Sorry, Charlie.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I didn't mean to leave it off. I really didn't. So now we'll move over to more of the
I thought you had one more.
I do not. I do not because there's so much stuff to talk about.
There's so much.
I wanted to move into some of the mainstream stuff.
Mainstream.
Right away.
Yay.
Knives Out. Rian Johnson returning to not a Star Wars movie, which I'm all about, and it's about a detective investigating the death of an eccentric, combative family, and it's going to be really, really interesting because this cast is incredible. Chris Evans, Daniel Craig, Catherine Langford, Jamie Lee Curtis, Michael Shannon, Toni Collette, and Lakeith Stanfield. What a weird cast, but I'm totally down for this movie. Already, both screenings have been sold out at TIFF.
No tickets for you.
So we can't see it?
You might. You don't know because the press stuff does differently. You might still get into it, but to the public, it's already sold out. Both screenings of this movie. I saw this trailer back at CinemaCon. I thought it just looked fun. It looks different. It looks wild, and it's weird because we're in this time now where I feel like we're getting this renaissance of like game movies, like we had, Game Night, we had movies. Yeah, okay. We had Murder Mystery, we had Ready or Not. Yeah. So it seems like there's going to be so many of these films, resurgence of them, and I'm really looking forward to this.
I'm gonna be the outlier on this one. I know everyone is stoked for Knives Out. It did nothing for me watching the trailer. I was just okay, I'll see it. But everybody got immediately super excited about it, and I'll see it, but I'm not like dying to see it.
I can agree to that because Murder on the Orient Express left lukewarm.
Oh, that's another one. Yeah, that one.
Yeah. So when I saw Knives Out trailer, I was like, oh, that's Murder on the in one house instead of on the train.
Murder on the Orient House.
You know what? That's a very good point because Murder on the Orient Express had so many great people in it, and that did not help.
A stinker.
Yeah, that did not help.
It was a stinker.
So it might be like that too. So we'll see.
I'm hoping it goes more Ready or Not. That's what I'm hoping for.
I love Ready or Not.
I need the sequel to that one be Here I Come.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you get that joke?
Yeah.
Okay. You were oddly silent.
Yes, I got it. All right, go ahead, Rama. Name
I'm
one
in
of
rare
your...
form today,
Oh,
guys.
is this
sorry.
the studio ones?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just one now.
Joker.
Of course.
Yeah.
Warner Brothers bringing Joker, starring Joaquin Phoenix, Robert De Niro, Mark Maron, Zazie Beetz, and Brian Tyree Henry. Directed by Todd Phillips, who gave us the Hangover movies. It's a standalone origin story of the iconic clown prince of crime. Not seen before on the big screen. Gritty, R-rated Arthur Fleck, a man disregarded by society, and a broader cautionary tale. This is probably my top number one film I gotta see at TIFF. And people say, like, when Robert Pattinson got cast as Batman, they say, like, oh, maybe that's gonna be a standalone too, where Ben Affleck will still be Batman, but Robert Pattinson plays this a spin-off. I don't know if that's the case, but if that's where the direction that WB is heading with DCEU, I like it. Because they're not going to be able to match against the Marvel Cinematic Universe, shared universe. So doing this standalones thing, that's a great idea on their part, I think.
Well, Rama beat us out on this. Scott literally sent out an email. It was like, everybody needs to pick theirs. Rama sent it in, and it was like Joker, and we were like, damn it.
Yeah.
Because we are all so excited for Joker. The buzz that we've heard about it so far is that it's incredible. And, the word Oscar worthy has been thrown around. So I am very excited. That's pretty much one of the top ones on my
And I'm
on
not
my
a
list.
big fan of Todd Phillips movies in general, usually. The Hangover, what is that with the
War
Jonah
Dogs.
Hill? War Dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this one's like, wow, this is something else.
It kind of reminds me. I don't know. I always think of something, and I should have the answer before I ask this question. But who was the director a year or two ago that came out with a movie where it was total? I know Ashley loves these analogies when I'm trying to figure them out.
These vague descriptions where I'm like, the guy.
But it's someone who we never. Oh, I already remember John Krasinski. John Krasinski, we never thought he would do A Quiet Place in terms of being his masterpiece, because he did all these little independent films, and they never really took off, and they never went anywhere. And then he did Quiet Place, and everyone loves him now, and it's hailing him like Jordan Peele. Oh my God, he's the next greatest thing. So I'm thinking that maybe Todd Phillips will do this film, and he might become the next greatest thing in terms of a dark, gritty superhero, or I guess villain movie, kind of like Christopher Nolan did with Dark Knight.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so excited for this movie. And I love the fact, and I know the fanboys are upset about it, but I'm so happy that this is an original idea.
Yes.
That they just took the character and they're doing something completely new with
We're
it.
doing what we want.
And I think that's a great and ballsy move by WB and DC Films.
Exactly. I think it'll pay off. I think award season wise and box office wise.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
do you
my
got?
turn?
Yep.
What you got? I've got The Aeronauts.
Okay.
It's picked up by Amazon, and it's having, Scott thinks it's going to play at Telluride, as well as it's playing at TIFF. It is the pilot Amelia Wren and scientist James Glacier find themselves in an epic fight for survival while attempting to make discoveries in a hot air balloon. I love anything flying stuff, which is hilarious because I'm petrified of heights. This is the reuniting of Felicity Jones and Eddie Redmayne, and yay! I love Eddie Redmayne. I don't care. I will see him in anything. And then Hamish Patel, Anne Reid, and Phoebe Fox are in it. It is directed by Tom Harper, who did Wild Rose, and then written by Jack Thorne, who was the co-writer of Wonder, which is a really great movie that was adapted from a book, and the writer of A Long Way Down.
Yep. I don't know much about this movie, but the two cast members really sell it for me. I'm also curious that Hamish Patel, if he's actually going to be the next big thing. I did not like Yesterday, as most people know, but this is his second feature from them, and I'm curious to see what he does. For me, the next one up is Just Mercy, which is a movie that is based on a book, and honestly, it's about a civil rights defense attorney, Brian Stevenson, as he recounts his experiences and details in the case of a condemned death row prisoner whom he fought to be free. This one stars Brie Larson, Michael B. Jordan, Jamie Foxx, O'Shea Jackson Jr., and Tim Blake Nelson, and it is directed and co-written by Destin Daniel Cretton, who you may know from a little movie called Short Term 12, as well as The Glass Castle. Both movies are phenomenal. If you have not seen them, you need to. I think this is enough to be said. I mean, Daniel directing, Brie and Michael B. Jordan in a movie together. Sold. I mean, I didn't even need to read the plot description of this movie. I just saw those names and I was like, I'm good. I'm gonna
100%.
Yep. And again, just like the Knives Out, already the first 2 screenings of this film already off sale at Toronto. It's going to be a big one. They did 1 screening here in LA already. Basically for the SAG people, got a standing ovation. Supposed to be amazing. A real Oscar-worthy movie, from what I hear.
Good.
Awesome sauce.
So Brie is Daniel's muse, basically, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
This is the 3rd time they work together.
Awesome. I love that.
I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right?
Yep.
So what do you got next
sorry.
for it? Yeah, no problem.
20th century. Did we already discuss Ford versus Ferrari? Because that's what I have on my list.
No, you're good.
20th Century Fox. Christian Bale, Matt Damon, John Bernthal, Noah Jupe. The plot is about American car designer Carroll Shelby and driver Ken Miles battling corporate interference, the laws of physics, and their own personal demons. Yes, personal demons, yes. To build a revolutionary race car for Ford and challenge Ferrari at the 24 Hours of Le Mans in 1966. So, based on true story, for those of you who are fans of race cars, I kind of am. So, and of course, you're fans of these actors, I kind of am as well. And it's directed by James Mangold. Just everything about it looks appealing to me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Next for you?
I'm hesitant on that movie.
You are hesitant?
I am very
Oh,
hesitant.
yeah? Why so? Why so?
I don't know. I just have a feeling that everybody... It's like, you know how they always pick one movie where they're, this is going to be the incredible movie of the festival? And I'm kind of just... for some reason, I got like this, like, I don't know. We'll see. But
It's the only movie, just so people know this, it's the only movie that Fox has left. That and Ad Astra are the only 2 films that they are putting out there for award season. I have doubts about Ad Astra, but I think this one's going to do it. Just because of the Christian Bale and Matt Damon and then also James Mangold.
I just have a feeling it could be very boring. Because here's the thing. You're setting up something with, like, race cars, and people are automatically expecting a certain level of intensity. If it doesn't live up to that, it's going to be disappointing for people. I think that's where it might stumble.
It could be.
Because both of those actors are really great dramatic actors, but it's also a film that's going to teeter on like some type of action too, because you're going to have the intensity of the racing and the, you know.
that's
So
what I'm
I don't
hoping.
know. That's why, I mean,
That's what I'm hoping.
we'll see. Fingers crossed. So my next one is actually one that you've already seen. It's called Parasite. I saw the trailer when I went to see Brittany Runs a Marathon at the ArcLight. And I was like, oh my God, how did I miss that screening? I was like, this looks amazing.
It's so good.
Yeah, I'm so excited. So, all unemployed, this one family takes particular interest in a wealthy and glamorous family called the Parks for their livelihood until they get entangled in an unexpected incident. This looks amazing. I only saw the trailer and it looks like it starts out one way and then it looks like it's going to take a major right turn into something else.
Yes.
And it looks creepy. I'm all for it. I'm good. And it's directed by Joon Ho Bong, who did Okja, and Snowpiercer. So I am very excited.
Yeah.
Can I add to that real quick?
Yeah.
I already saw the film, and I think that's probably number 1 on my list.
I've heard that.
Best picture.
I've heard that
of the
from a
year.
lot of people who've
You
seen
think
it.
Best Picture of the Year?
Best picture of the year.
I think it's 100% a lock for Best Foreign Film.
Okay, foreign film. Okay.
Winner, but I mean,
Winner, chicken dinner.
Yeah.
There's too many movies for Best Picture right now, and the fact that it has subtitles and it has to compete against The Farewell too.
Yeah, farewell.
But you don't think The Farewell
The
is going to win?
Farewells can't. From what I read, it cannot be in the foreign film
Oh,
Oh.
because
thought they said
because it was actually made here.
Oh.
that's why
I am mistaken.
I didn't know that.
Apologies.
But,
Yeah.
So
That was also picked up by Neon. It's supposed to play at Cannes. It played at Cannes,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Telluride is the prediction and TIFF.
Yeah, and it won the top prize at Cannes too.
Right.
So next one up for me is Dark Water, which is right now, probably by the time this video drops, right now it's shh. But it's Focus Features. It's supposed to premiere at Telluride. We'll see if it does. This is the return of Todd Hayes, who you probably remember from Wonderstruck and Carol, both really big movies.
Which Wonderstruck got seriously overlooked.
Oh, so overlooked.
Agreed.
Yep. And it stars Anne Hathaway, Mark Ruffalo, Bill Pullman, Tim Robbins, and it is about a corporate defense attorney who takes on a environmental lawsuit against a chemical company that exposes a lengthy history of pollution, and it's based on a magazine article. So
It feels very Aaron Brockovich-y.
it does.
Yes.
And Anne Hathaway could use a hit. She could use a
could.
hit.
But we all love The Intern.
And we love Colossal.
And The Hustle.
Yeah. Oh, no. Not The Hustle.
You're getting another no today. That'll be your third no.
Yeah. No for The Hustle.
No, Rama.
No.
But you're right. She could use a hit.
She needs it. Let's give it to her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited for that one.
Next one up for you, Rama?
Oh, this is your also favorite,
You
right?
also took this.
Yeah.
A beautiful day in the neighborhood. Sing it with me now. Based on the true story of a real life friendship between Fred Rogers and journalist Tom Junot, starring Tom Hanks and Chris Cooper, Matthew Rice, and Susan Watson. And of course, if we love that documentary last year, was it last year?
Yes, it was.
You're gonna love this movie. It's hands down. It's so easy.
And it's by Marielle Heller, who did Can You Forgive Me and Diary of a Teenage Girl.
There you go, the director, yes. So, I mean, Tom Hanks as Mr. Rogers is like, it's meant to be, stars are aligned. Come on now.
I saw the first picture and I was like, yes. I got emotional. I'm like, please.
It's going to be amazing.
If it's not, I'm
know.
literally
I'm
going
gonna
to
be
just
if this movie
crumble.
sucks, I'm going to be crushed. Like, I'm literally going to walk out and I'm going to be like, oh, the world
It'll be
sucks.
like when you saw that Mary Poppins. You were like, this is going to be amazing. This is going to be the best movie
Yes,
of the
it
year.
may-
And then you
it
walk
may
out, you're
very
like,
well be.
ugh.
Yeah, it very well may be. But I hope not.
Crush your soul.
I just hope that the movie at least retains the message of Mr. Rogers.
Oh,
the legacy.
absolutely.
It has to,
And it's something
good or
like,
not, it has to
right. It's when
retain
we
that.
saw the documentary last year. It was like, this is something that we need to be reminded of.
Yes.
We need to be, and because, people are a little weird with watching documentaries, at least if this is a feature, you have the potential for it to reach more people. So, fingers crossed that we haven't all become hardened and jaded and we can still appreciate Mr.
I
Rogers.
hope so.
Me?
Yep.
Jojo Rabbit.
Yeah!
To completely switch, we're going to
Yeah.
talk about Hitler. Okay, this is Fox Searchlight. It is having the TIFF world premiere, which means it should not play at any other festival.
Right.
TIFF will get very upset if it does. So, the plot is a young boy in Hitler's army finds out his mother is hiding a Jewish girl in their home. And it's like he has an imaginary friend
Yes.
that is a version of Adolf Hitler, played by Taika Waititi.
Yep.
Waititi, I can never say his name. I apologize. And it stars Scarlett Johansson, Roman Griffin Davis, Sam Rockwell, Stephen Merchant, Rebel Wilson, and Thomasin McKenzie. Written and directed by Taika Waititi, who did Thor Ragnarok, What We Do in the Shadows, and The Hunt for the Wilder People. This movie is going to be bananas, and
Yeah. I'm all for it.
I'm amazed it's not like a Midnight Madness film because it kind of feels like it would do really well with that audience, but
It's too big for the Ryerson.
it's too big. It's
Yeah.
too big. The Ryerson would overflow.
Yes.
But I'm very excited for it. I think it's going to be really... It's probably one of the most original concepts we've seen and a really daring concept to hit upon, especially in the current political climate that we have. So I'm sold. I'm going to see it. It may be the weirdest thing I've ever seen all year, but it might also be a secret genius film.
It honestly might go on to win Best Picture because it's so weird and different.
Yeah.
I think...
But you have to remember, you have to get the voters to go see that.
Yeah, that's true.
So...
I think, when I saw that, the image first time, I was like, oh, this reminds me a little bit of Life is Beautiful. Like, how do you make a Holocaust comedy and then with a little heart and make you cry also at the end? It might have that same effect, like Life is Beautiful, Roberto Benigni.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay.
I love that movie.
Yeah, so, it's like, oh, maybe comedy, but also kind of sad. We'll see.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it actually, it's interesting that you point that out. I'm actually hoping it shies away from the sad part of it.
Okay.
And kind of stays with like this weird awkwardness.
Okay.
But I don't know. I mean, with that topic, it can be very touchy with how you address the serious heaviness of the topic. So when doing that, you have to be really delicate with it. And I'm worried about if it goes in that direction, if it's going to be delicate enough with it. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I think it's going to be really weird, but who knows? I
don't know.
I didn't think I'd be talking about that type of movie, so, who knows? Maybe he knows something we don't.
And then you have the last one, Rama, before we move over.
That's
No,
all I
you
have.
covered them all.
No, Marriage Story.
Oh, Marriage Story. Yes.
Don't forget about Marriage Story.
Sorry.
That's Netflix. You're right. I apologize. So this is Noah Baumbach, the director of Frances Ha, The Squid and the Whale, some of my favorite movies. Starring Scarlett Johansson, Jojo Rabbit, Adam Driver, Laura Dern, Alan Alda, Wallace Shawn, and Ray Liotta. The plot, Noah Baumbach's incisive and compassionate look at a marriage breaking up and a family staying together. I'm not a married man. I wouldn't know to relate to it, but I saw the trailer, and it just looks so... I'm so intrigued by how this will all play out. And I love a good drama. I love good, breaking up story. So hopefully Noah has a good one for us.
I'm really looking forward to this movie. I love the fact that Netflix decided to do a 2-trailer release for this movie.
Oh, you're right.
Of a male perspective and a female perspective. I thought that was brilliant. Adam Driver it's starting to grow on me. Initially when I saw him in movies, in TV shows like Girls and also in Star Wars, he didn't really work. But now, I'm starting to appreciate him more because he does some of this dramatic performances. The Report, which is also going to be playing at these festivals, which we saw back at Sundance. He's great in that film. This looks phenomenal, and I think he's going to maybe, again, get some Oscar love for either a performance in this or in The Report.
Yes, I totally agree. And I'm looking forward to also seeing what Noah Baumbach wants to convey about marriage. So we'll see.
And it's interesting. A lot of people have been talking about this online. Is that if Greta Gerwig's Little Women does as well as Sony hopes, that it could be her versus him in terms of directing or writing.
Oh,
for the Academy Awards or season, Golden Globes or whatever. So, yeah.
It's quite a prediction.
Yep. Who knows? So, real quick, we just want to we only have a few minutes left on the show, but we kind of wanted to do like an award season preview. Please forgive us. We were like running through all this stuff. This stuff really needs like multiple episodes, and we're going to be talking about it a lot for the rest of the year. But we just figured before we get into all the festival stuff, let's talk about all the movies and all the studios that are going to have these award season hopefuls. And I decided to break it down by studio right now. Who knows what indie movies are going to come out of nowhere after these festivals that are going to add to this discussion. Hopefully a lot. But it is jam-packed, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to start off, of course, with the biggie, Disney, who has Frozen 2, Avengers Endgame, and Toy Story 4.
Which will probably be competing against each other, Frozen 2 and Toy Story 4 for Best Animated.
Yes, and I think Frozen 2 will also have Best Original Song right now.
Right. Because we were lucky enough to be at D23 and got to see them perform one of the songs live, and it's great.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. In terms of Universal, they have Abominable, which is going to... I know I butchered that. Abominable. God, I can't pronounce that. Actually say it for me.
No, it's good. I like your way.
Which is an animated film, which is directed by the guy who did
Monsters. It's got that little fuzzy white thing that I'm all like, it's
directed by Monsters, Inc. guy.
Yeah, I just want one of those stuffed
animal?
Like the stuffed animal, the fluffy thing. I mean, I think it's going to be cute.
It's probably not going to win Best Animated Film, but it's going to be there.
Yeah, that's fine.
And then How to Train Your Dragon, which, is also going to be forgotten, but that's going to be up there.
I'm all up there.
And then Queen and Slim, which has no festival play yet.
Which is interesting.
1917, which is the Sam Mendes new movie. And then, of course, Us, which I don't know. Jordan Peele's Us, which I don't know if that's going to wind up sticking around for award season.
That's what's interesting is you see a lot of these movies that make a really strong performance in the first half, and then festival season comes around, and then it can just knock them out completely. I'm hoping that's not the case with a lot of these films, but we don't know.
And then for Sony, we have A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, which we just talked about, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and of course Little Women, which will be coming out on Christmas Day. Sony Pictures Classics, right now I think the only one that they have is Pain and Glory. Warner Brothers has quite the impressive lineup. Motherless Brooklyn, The Goldfinch, Joker, Just Mercy, The Good Liar, and Dr. Sleep are all potential.
And they're all relying on the second half of the year for that, too. Like, none of these have been released yet.
No.
So it's like they're all pushing for the second half of the year.
And I'm going to dismiss the Bill Hader It Chapter 2 rumors right now. It's never going to happen. Just mark my words. You heard it right here on Film Critics Weekly.
Razzie, that's Razzie.
You're not going to get it.
I think you're confusing Oscar and Razzie.
Yeah.
Razzie, yeah.
And then
in all fairness, he's not terrible. I'm just saying.
He's fine.
Whatever.
He's a little annoying. Lionsgate.
I got issues with that.
We all got issues.
It's all right.
Lionsgate surprisingly has Knives Out and also Bombshell, which
that trailer is just like, you have no idea what it's about, but you're like, you can guess what it's kind of about from the trailer, but then you're like, this is just like looks and then music, and it's just you're
a lot of blondes.
Sold and blondes.
Blondes.
So I'm sold on that one. I don't know.
Ash, you want to take from Paramount down?
We got Paramount with Rocket Man. Obviously, Taron Egerton has been in talks for Best Actor, and Gemini Man with Will Smith, who was probably also in the Best Actor category if the film delivers. 20th Century Fox, as we talked about, we have Ford vs. Ferrari and Ad Astra. Fox Searchlight has the personal history of David Copperfield, which stars my buddy Dev Patel, who I love. So I'm excited. They also have Jojo Rabbit, which we talked about, A Hidden Life, and Lucy in the Sky. Lucy in the Sky is also playing at TIFF.
Yes.
Right? All right. Focus Features has The Mustang, Harriet, and Todd Haynes' Darkwater. Rama, you can start off with STX for us.
Oh, good old STX.
That's what they got. I don't know if this is a wild shot in the dark.
They have Hustlers.
That's it.
Quote Scott. He said Hustlers is Oscar worthy.
Did you see the article that came out today? Like there was so much big deal about this movie because they brought up that the fact that there's so few films that represent Latino culture.
I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying.
Oh.
It would shock me.
It would shock me too.
I think people watch it not for the awards though. If you've seen the trailer, everybody. Okay. Yeah. United Artists, Booksmart, our favorite here. A24, The Souvenir, Midsommar, Gloria Bell, Last Black Man in San Francisco, Waves, Uncut Gems, The Lighthouse, and The Farewell. That's a lot.
That was kind of split in half too, because some of it already came out and then some of it hasn't. So A24 is like, we gotta get it. Like, we've got like a million films. We've got to.
And I mean, out of those movies so far, again,
The Farewell.
Not seeing them, The Farewell is a lock. And I think somewhere between Uncut Gems and Lighthouse for the one of the other two. Uncut Gems is going to be the return of Adam Sandler to a dramatic role.
Cool.
And it's by the guy who did, the Robert Pattinson movie that everyone likes, Good Time.
Good Time. Yeah, the brothers.
Yes, the brothers. Yeah. So they're doing that movie. So I think that has potential. And then, of course, The Lighthouse because Robert Pattinson and William Dafoe.
Yes.
Neon, Parasite, my favorite movie of the year, one of them. Loose, Portrait of a Lady on Fire. Amazon Studios, Honey Boy, The Aeronauts, One Child Nation, Late Night, Brittany Runs a Marathon.
And The Report, because I forgot to put that on there. Yep.
And The Report.
And Bleecker Street is Hotel Mumbai, also one of my favorites this year.
Which I know you guys really love them, but I think it's going to get overlooked. Hotel Mumbai.
Oh, yeah, I think Hotel Mumbai's dead in the water.
Because it played at TIFF last year, and it hasn't gotten much of a push yet.
Unfortunately. Yeah.
And then we also have Netflix, which Scott forgot to put on there.
And that's, of course, The Irishman, Martin Scorsese. We have Marriage Story and Steven Soderbergh's The Laundromat, starring Meryl Streep. So those are all good bets for Netflix. I think they're all going to be very strong.
Good job, Netflix.
So, I mean, your guess is as good as ours at this point. I mean, there's going to be a big change in films, and the discussion after we get back from TIFF, because all the reviews will be out for a lot of these movies, and we're going to have a bigger discussion about that in a couple of weeks, probably in 3 or 4 weeks from now. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, that's our film festival preview. That's our award season preview. Comment in the box below. Let us know like which one of these films do you think is going to take home big prizes. And before we go, we need to turn one more time to Rama and Ashley so they can tell everyone where they can find you.
Go ahead,
things
Ashley.
of that nature.
Okay. You can find me on We Live Entertainment, and you can also find me on Twitter at Ashley G. Menzel.
And you can find me on YouTube, youtube.com/RamaScreen1, and go watch Little Monsters. It's a great movie.
Yes!
And you can find me at We Live Entertainment as well, or Twitter and Instagram at The Other Scott M. Thank you so very much for watching, and we'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
Views expressed herein are those of the hosts only, and not necessarily reflect the views of the Popcorn Talk Network or its owners or principals.